Ant Revenge. Cherry blossom in a beautiful flower garden. There was a pile of peas. An ant had been collecting them because a pecan had fallen nearby, and she was building a big mountain of peas. After stacking them, the ant went back to bring more peas. But a sneaky fly was secretly watching her. The fly took one pea from the mountain, and the whole pile collapsed. The ant came back, saw the mess, and felt really sad that all her hard work was ruined, while the fly laughed quietly. And still, the ant didn't give up. She started rebuilding the mountain again. But when she left to fetch more peas, the fly returned and pulled out another pea, breaking the pile again. Pouting face this time, the ant got angry and walked away, while the fly kept watching her with a wicked smile. Lady Beetle suddenly, the ant's friend, a bug, appeared. He dropped peas from the can right on top of the fly, burying her under the pile. The ant was happy, gave one pea to her bug friend as a thank you gift, and the bug walked away. Meanwhile, the fly was stuck under the mountain of peas, getting exactly what she deserved. In a jungle, there was a beautiful garden filled with yellow flowers, and in that garden lived a colony of bees. One cool morning, a gentle breeze was blowing, and all the bees flew out of their hive together. It was a lovely sight to see. They buzzed around happily, landing on the blooming flowers to collect nectar. But one little bee was late leaving the hive. When she finally arrived at the garden, she found that every flower she went to was already covered with other bees. No matter where she went, she couldn't find a single flower to collect nectar from. Feeling disappointed, the bee noticed a newspaper lying in a dustbin nearby. On it, she saw an advertisement. After reading it, she got an idea. She decided to leave the garden and fly toward the city. Following the signboards along the way, she finally reached the city and flew through the busy streets until she found a flower shop. The shop was full of all kinds of beautiful flowers. Seeing them, the little bee was overjoyed. She began collecting nectar from every different flower in the shop. When she was done, she flew back home to the hive. All the other bees were surprised to see her return with so much nectar. The clever bee smiled, went inside the hive, and finally took a peaceful rest. It was a freezing winter day, Christmas morning in full chill. On a dry old tree hung a shriveled apple, and inside it, a tiny caterpillar was fast asleep. But suddenly, the apple fell to the ground and broke open. The poor caterpillar lost his cozy home and started shivering in the cold. Looking for warmth, he crawled toward a nearby house. Through the glass window, he saw a glowing fireplace inside. Just then, his friend, a little fly, arrived too. Both were freezing but excited to see the warm fire. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. The man living in the house opened the door and saw the dried apple lying outside. Thinking it was just trash, he picked it up and threw it into the dustbin inside the house. But guess what? The caterpillar and the fly were hiding inside that apple. Once the man left, they quietly crawled out of the bin and moved toward the fireplace. The fly found a piece of chocolate candy, and the caterpillar found a brand new warm home near the fire. If you like this cute caterpillar and his little fly friend, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more adorable stories. One day, there was going to be a race for all the bugs. First, a group of dragonflies flew from the pond toward the racetrack. Then, a group of bees came out of their hive and also headed toward the race field. Seeing this, some wasps left their nest and followed them to the race ground. Next, a snail slowly started making its way to the racetrack. After that, a group of flies also flew toward the race area. Finally, a team of bugs joined in and headed to the race field to participate too. All the bugs gathered at the starting line. The referee was an ant. She climbed up high to start the race and blew the whistle. The race began. Everyone dashed forward, but the snail was still at the starting line. All the bugs were giving it their all to win the race, while the snail was still slowly moving ahead. Suddenly, the bug cheated and pushed the dragonfly, causing it to lose balance and fall. The remaining 4 bugs kept moving ahead, crossing through the field. But then, the bee crashed into a pile of hay and fell down too. The snail was still slowly making progress. Out of the remaining 3, the wasp hit a rock and also fell. Now the race was between the fly and the bug. Both were doing everything they could to beat each other. But then, the fly hit a rock on the side of the path and fell. The bug started mocking the fly, but then ran into a signboard and crashed as well. Just then, the ant saw that the snail had been moving slowly and steadily and was now about to reach the finish line. The snail crossed the line and won the race. All the snails started celebrating the big win. One fine morning, a happy little snail slid out of his cozy shell house. He was humming to himself, moving slowly but proudly across some big rocks like a tiny adventurer on a grand journey. Life was good, but then, dun dun dun, a black bug appeared from the bushes. He was crawling fast, straight toward the snail like he was late for an insect meeting. The snail heard the creepy little footsteps behind him and froze. His eyes widened. Oh no! Something's coming for me. And in pure snail style, slow but dramatic, he pulled himself back into his shell. The black bug zoomed right past him without even noticing. After a moment, the snail peeked out, realized he was safe, and continued his journey like nothing happened. Soon, both of them reached a road. The bug, being a cautious little guy, looked left and right like a professional traffic officer. Cars are scary, he muttered, before bravely starting to cross. Halfway across, honk, car appeared out of nowhere. The black bug panicked, screamed like a cartoon character, and sprinted back to the sidewalk, heart pounding. The snail, meanwhile, finally arrived. He didn't even look both ways. Nope, he just started crossing the road at his super snail speed, totally chill like he owned the place. The bug watched in horror. Dude, what are you doing? You'll be snail pancake in 3 seconds. A car came speeding down the road. The bug squeezed his eyes shut. He couldn't bear to watch. But when he opened them, the snail was fine. He had somehow made it to the other side, completely unharmed. Maybe cars respect the grind of a confident snail. The snail looked back proudly, wiggled his tiny eye stalks, and gave the bug a look like, "See? Easy." But the poor bug was still shaking, terrified to cross. Cars zoomed by again and again. Both stared at each other, stuck on opposite sides of the road, like a sad slow-motion love story. Then the snail did something heroic. He turned around, slid back across the road, again, reached the bug, and said in his squeaky voice, "Hop on, buddy. I got you." The bug hesitated, then climbed onto the snail's shell like it was a taxi ride from heaven. Together, they slowly crossed the road, cars honking, drivers confused, but the duo unstoppable. When they finally made it, the bug shouted, "We did it!" From that day, the black bug and the snail became best friends. There was a beautiful swimming pool, and near it on a plant lived a big spider who had built her web there. Nearby, a small spider had also spun her own web on the same plant. One day, a fly came buzzing by, but accidentally bumped into the plant and fell into the water. Her wings got wet, and she fainted. Seeing this, both spiders thought of catching the fly. The big spider rushed first, climbing onto a piece of foam that was floating in the pool and started heading toward the fly. But the foam began to fill with water and sink. The big spider barely managed to crawl out, soaked and struggling. Just then, the little spider came with a glass, sat inside it, and started floating toward the fly to catch her. The big spider, not wanting the little one to succeed, started throwing olives at her to sink her. The olives worked, and the small spider also began to sink. Meanwhile, the fly slowly began to regain consciousness. The big spider quickly spun a web across the swimming pool and tried to use it to reach the fly. But just as she reached, the little spider appeared from the other side, and both ended up falling into the water. At that moment, the fly fully woke up, flapped her wings, and flew away safely. Both spiders were left with nothing, empty-handed and dripping wet. Deep in the jungle, there was a beautiful little pond. National Park. One day, a black ant was happily walking by, carrying a big fat almond on her back like a boss. Life was good, until she spotted something shiny near the water. A huge walnut. Astonished face. Her tiny ant brain screamed, "Jackpot!" Moneybag. So, She dropped her almond and rushed over to grab the walnut instead. But, plot twist, it was all a sneaky trap set by a red ant. Red circle smiling face with horns that wasn't even a real walnut. It was just an empty walnut shell, but the black ant, bless her heart, totally fell for it. Just as the black ant stepped on a tiny wooden stick floating on the water, the red ant, evil mastermind that she is, pushed it into the pond. Sweat droplets splash. Off went the black ant, floating helplessly away like a tiny ant pirate without a ship. Pirate flag ant dashing away. Meanwhile, the red ant grabbed the abandoned almond like she just won the lottery. But nature has a sense of humor. As the black ant floated to the other side of the pond, soggy but determined, she started heading home. That's when she saw the red ant, the villain herself, had slipped and fallen into the pond. While trying to steal the almond, karma came fast, faced with tears of joy, not one to let betrayal slide. The black ant picked up the fake walnut shell and chased the red ant. Woman running ant with ninja-level stealth. She climbed up a tree branch, flung the useless walnut shell, and grabbed her almond back like a true hero. Chestnut, triumphant and dripping with jungle swag, the black ant carried her almond home with pride. The red ant, she was left wet, walnutless, and wondering where it all went wrong. Once upon a time, in a supermarket was an all-you-can-eat buffet. Leafy green, face-savoring food. They weren't just leaf lovers, they were besties, soulmates. In the evening, they'd cuddle up inside a big red apple that hung from the tree, which was also their cozy little home. But one morning, things so close, but not close enough. The twig between them was just a little too short. Classic. So there they hung, inches apart, as night fell. Then something magical happened. They each spun themselves into cocoons and hung from the branches, ready to transform. Crescent moon sparkles. Days passed, and finally, tada, they both emerged as beautiful butterflies. Butterfly, no more crawling, no more leaf eating, okay, maybe a little, and no more getting separated by apples. They fluttered across the pond and finally reunited in midair, doing a happy little butterfly dance.